Welcome back to the channel. This is the Action Figure Grader, and my voice is a little hoarse. I'm a little sick right now, so you'll have to excuse me. But this is another what to buy on eBay video, and this episode has got a lot of really big items. But I did try to pick out a few other items that maybe are a little lower on the budget in case you guys are spending your money willy-nilly. But if you're looking for Holy Grail type items, this video has a lot of them from CIB/AFA and a number of other sellers. As always, in the video description, I will have eBay affiliate links for all of these items, either buy it now or at auction. And if you use those links, it helps out the channel at no extra cost to you. If they're at auction, you can place a low bid and then try to win it later. And if you do, it does help out the channel. So thanks to those of you that do that regularly. Thanks again to my Patreon supporters for helping support the channel. All right, be ready. Get ready, guys, because this list is pretty incredible. We're going to start off with the loose graded, and we're going to start kind of, slowly, get our feet wet. This is an AFA 80 4-LOM baggie from Brian's Toys. This one should stay pretty low. This one's not particularly expensive. Right now it's at $26. This one ends Sunday afternoon at about 2 o'clock Eastern time. I expect this one to sell for between $150 and $175 max. AFA 80 for a pretty common baggie, but it presents nicely, and I do love 4-LOM. Next up, CIB has some incredible stuff at auction that all end this Sunday evening. And I'm going to start off again with some of the more common items, but just be ready because some of the items at the end of this video are pretty mind-blowing. The first one is a Spanish PvP Hoth Stormtrooper. So this one is graded AFA 80. And here's the label on this one, Hard Torso Scar COO. So there you go there. That one's at $71 and ends Sunday. And I'll try not to repeat myself, but all of the CIB items end Sunday evening. They also have an AFA 85 plus yak face, and we all know how expensive yak face can get when you go from 85 to 85 plus or 90. I believe there was a 90 old case style that sold on Hakes in the last Hakes session for crazy money, like $1,200-$1,300. But this one's an 85 plus new case style, and right now the current bid is at $620. This one just got listed this morning as of the making of this video. This one is an AFA 85 Luke Stormtrooper archival case with the collector coin also graded 85. So each item has its own AFA case, and then they wrap that in another acrylic case. What they really should do is, now that it is an acrylic baggie, or, one of those baggies, they should put another acrylic case on top of that, and then another baggie on top of that. Just keep going over and over again. But it's like MC Escher's painting with, different layers. It's just mind-boggling how much acrylic there is for this item. But it is pretty awesome, I will say that. AFA 85, archival case, Luke Stormtrooper. Right now, the current bid is at $255. Again, the auction just got started late last night. And that one ends really late Sunday evening at 11:32 Central Time, 12:30 Monday. Next up, I've got a few comics before we dig into the vintage mint on cards that are going to blow your mind. Here is a Star Wars 81. This is the return of Boba Fett after he gets out of the Sarlacc pit. This is a pretty awesome painted cover and Tom Palmer cover, CGC 9.8 with white pages. Right now, the current bid is at $67. This one ends Sunday evening. The Go Collect fair market value on this is about $300, so you can bid accordingly on that one. Hopefully, it goes for less than that and you get a good deal on it. But that's a great cover. That's one in my own collection. Here's another one that we don't talk about regularly, but this is a newsstand edition of Star Wars 88. This is the first appearance of Lumaya, and this is kind of like a female Sith, and she wields like a lightsaber that's a whip. And I'm a little surprised they've never kind of done anything with her, but she's kind of like considered the new Dark Lord as part of the part of the vintage Marvel run. It's a little early in the morning. I haven't had all my coffee yet, but it's a great cover. And, again, I don't know if they ever do anything with Lumaya, but it's right now, the current bid is $250. It's the harder to find newsstand edition from 1984. Great looking book, though. Some modern books that are at auction. Here is Kanan the Last Padawan #1. This is the first cameo appearance of the Rebels team. Right now, the current bid is at $66. I probably wouldn't pay more than about $150 to $175 for this book. It's really come back down to earth. Likewise, here's another relatively inexpensive book. This is the John Tyler Christopher Negative Space variant for Darth Maul, Star Wars #41. This book just came out in February, but it's a great cover. I've still got it on my want list. I haven't kind of pulled the trigger on one yet. This one's at $12.50. This one should probably end for less than $100, like $75, $85, somewhere in that ballpark. But great negative space cover, and I just think it's one of his best works yet in terms of the negative space. All right, here we go. We've got some mint on card. We've got some sealed vehicles, die-cast. Pretty mind-blowing stuff as we get into this list here. But this is a 12-back B Sand People graded AFA 80. This one has 2 price stickers and a punched example, so hopefully that keeps the price down just a little bit. But there you go. Here's the label on it, 80, 85, 85. Nice crystal clear blister. And the Tusken Raider looks like it could have a little bit of discoloration on the cape. It might be shadows, I'm not sure. But to me, it looks like that collar on the Tusken Raider is starting to get some discoloration. So just make sure you bid accordingly on that one. It just looks like it's got discoloration. That'll probably keep the price down, though. But just keep in mind that, in my opinion, if that is discoloration on the cape, that the figure score of 85 no longer really holds up. That's really more like a 75. So now, is it probably still an overall 80 with that discoloration? It'll be close. I mean, you know, I'd say it's probably more like a figure score of a 75. Card 80, blister 85. You could argue it probably still is an 80, but just keep that in mind, that in my opinion, it looks like it's got some discoloration going on. Right now, the current bid's at $285. That one ends Monday evening. Now, here are some items from CIB. This one is an AFA 75 plus 20-back G R5D4 unpunched, no price sticker. It really presents nicely and a much better than a 75 plus, but I think at the top of the blister it's got a little ding there, and that was enough to bring down the overall score to a 75 plus. So card score 85, figure score 80, blister 75 for an overall 75 plus. But the card is beautiful, really presents nicely, but because it's still below an 80, it might keep the price down just a little bit. Typically an 80 score for something like this, you're probably talking $1,200 or more. So maybe this one goes for below $1,000. That would be kind of my target if I was going to aim for this one. Right now, again, the current bid is at $390. Next up, I've got some beautiful die casts that are at auction from CIB. This Slave one is graded DCA 80. So DCA is just kind of another subgroup for AFA, and there's the label on that one. The card score is 75, blister 85, figure or vehicle 80. And the main reason it got the 75 is because on the back of the card, it's got some scuffing on the card, and I think on the front, it's got a light crease right there in the middle of the card by the Slave one on the front of the card. But it's a clear blister, beautiful example, 1 price sticker, punched example, and right now the current bid is at $660. I don't know what this one's going to go for. I feel like the die-cast Slave one prices are all over the map. For a yellowed example, ungraded in similar condition, it probably tops out about this price. But this one's graded, and it is a clear blister, so I could see this one jumping up. I just don't know. So I don't have a good idea of what this one's going to go for. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably going to go for $800 to $900, but watch it go for like $1,200. So it's anybody's guess what it goes for. Likewise on this one, I'm not really sure where this one's going to go, but it's a pretty incredible pre-production item. It's a yellowed blister, but this is Darth Vader's TIE Fighter on a TIE Fighter card back. And so this is like a pre-production item where it's got smaller wings on the Darth Vader TIE Fighter, as it's labeled there, pre-production sample. So they were probably testing out the figure in terms of how it was going to look on a card back before they finally got the card back done. And, you know, this is a fairly early example of a 12-back with the Darth Vader TIE Fighter inside. 12-back die-cast series, 1978. and it's a pre-production item. 85 plus, 85, 90, 90 are the sub scores on it. Again, I have no idea what this is going to sell for. So, I would think that it would go for more than the Slave 1, but it is a yellowed blister, but it's a pre-production item. So I could see this going for $1,000 or $2,000. Who knows? But pretty cool item. And right now, again, the same bid price right now, $660 on that one. Next up, they also do have that Tri-Logo Biker Scout. They finally took it off of a buy it now for, I think they had it listed at $650. And so they finally said, okay, we're going to put it at auction. So right now the current bid is at $305. It's an AFA 80, card score 85, blister 80, figure 85. You could argue maybe that they were a little generous on the blister score because it does have a pretty pronounced ding on the upper left and on the front of the blister. But it's got that KB Toys price sticker. It's a punched example. Right now, again, the bid's $305. They had it for sale at $650 and no takers. So we know it's going to go for below that in theory. So I would guess, I'd say $500 to $550 would be my target price on that one. Pretty nice example, though. Next up, we've got a uncirculated 80 grade Slave 1. So this is a mint and seal box Slave 1 where somebody sent in a sealed Kenner case for this one, and it got the uncirculated designation. So here's the designation on it. Red label AFA, so it's mint and seal box, factory sealed, uncirculated 80. Wow. There can't be too many of these out there, but you never know, I guess. That one is a beautiful example, and right now the current bid is at $3,000. I'm not sure where this one will end up. I would guess $4,500 to $5,000. That's just a wild guess on my part. Not easy to find an uncirculated Slave 1, but that's a pretty awesome item. Next up, we've got a AFA 75 plus Han Solo in Carbonite on the Power of the Force card. Obviously, it's got the yellowed blister, but no price sticker. Maybe a little sticker residue there, or maybe that's the guy's hand in the reflection. I can't tell. But it's unpunched and pretty beautiful example. Card 75, blister 80, figure 90 on that one. So that one's at $207.83. Again, that's another Brian's Toys auction. So bid accordingly, and hopefully you can win that for a decent price, given that it's below the 80 grade that a lot of us collect at. Here's an AFA 85 Barada with just light yellowing. Very, very clean example. Unpunched, no price sticker. That one's at $315. Next up, CIB also has two different 12-inch figures, mint in sealed box. Here is an AFA 80 C-3PO. Beautiful example. And that one also, again, in Sunday Night. Wow, what an awesome item. There's hardly any damage to the flap. You could argue maybe a little crease right there on the flap and on the front there in the corner. It looks like the box got an 80, window got an 85, figure 85. But very, very clean example. I was looking for the back of it. There's the back right there. So very, very clean. Hardly any damage to the flap whatsoever. So that one's at $413. And then here's the Princess Leia. And I thought they were a little generous on this one. They gave this one an 85, but it's got a pretty pronounced crease right there in the upper left. Otherwise, pretty clean. Here's another crease right there in the lower left. But they gave the box score an 80, and it still snuck out an overall 85. I would argue this is probably more like an 80 or an 80 plus. But they did kind of upgrade it all the way to an 85 overall. But in my opinion, it's a little overgraded. But that's just my personal opinion. It's still very nice. Mint in seal box. The current bid on that one is $690. Here's a rare one, okay? And I don't know what this is worth. To me, the current bid price is probably worth it, okay? Now, there's not many of these that have sold over the years. I did go to Hakes to see whether there were any of these, but this is the very, very, very rare Lily Ledy Tusken Raider. There are not many of these that are authenticated as 100% original, but this is the Tusken Raider 12-inch line, archival case, graded AFA 80 plus, and it's loose graded, okay? Right now, the current bid's at $3,000. Now, I did go to Hakes to see if there's any examples that sold. There was only one that was a no grade that had the box, where the box had been restored. And that one's still sold for over $3,000. Now, this one is loose graded, but it's high grade, and it's an actual grade versus one with a restored box. Now, I've seen these sell on Facebook in some of the Lily Ledy groups, or on Deal or No Deal, some other groups like that, where Lily Ledy experts have had complete examples ungraded sell for between $2,000 and $3,000. Now, we've got a complete loose example that's already graded with an archival case AFA 80+. So they've got a starting bid of $3,000. This one ends Sunday afternoon. If you can get it for close to the starting bid price of $3,000, I would honestly, to me, I would pay up to $3,500 for this one. Now, that's just me, because I know how rare this is. Now, if you don't collect the 12-inch line or whatever, and you don't particularly care about this, then fine, just go with it. But, if you're a Lily Ledy collector, this is absolutely one of the holy grails for the Lily Ledy collection. It's just very, very tough to find this one 100% complete. And it's an awesome item. I mean, I wish I could get it, but it's just not meant to be right now. It's really, really cool. And again, I would personally go up to $3,500 on this one. If you can get it for the starting bid price or close to it, then have at it, because I think that's a fair price personally. Finally, we've got another one where, while it's pretty eye-popping at first glance, there have been a number of these that have sold, okay? And so this is an unproduced, unpainted first shot Ewoks line of toys, Chief Chirpa. And so here you go. This figure never made it to retail. And there are a number of these that have been sold on Hakes before. This has got an archival case, unpainted with staff, first shot action figure, Chief Chirpa. So they never released this as part of the Ewoks line. I'm sure it was going to be like the next wave, but it didn't do that well, so they decided not to release it. So there you go. It comes with the CIB statement of authenticity. Right now, the current bid is at $1,050. I found two other examples, if not three, that sold on Hakes for between $4,000 and $5,000. And so that kind of gives you a target price point for this one. And again, it's an 85 grade. I think that there's one on Hakes that was an AFA 90 that sold for big money. But I would personally aim for this one if you're into these kind of pre-production, never released at retail type of figures. I would try to stay under 4,000, because you could argue that the market has softened a little bit since the last one sold on Hakes. But it's pretty incredible, and the current bid is only $1,050 right now. I fully expect this one to go for over 3,000, if not 4,000. But if you can get it for under 4, I think you're doing pretty well long term on it. But that's a pretty cool item, and this is the first time I've ever seen one sell at auction on eBay. Usually this is the kind of item that you see on Hakes. So very cool, and that kind of wraps up this video. I hope you enjoyed looking at some of these pretty incredible items that are at auction or for sale on eBay. Again, please use those affiliate links if you want to help out the channel, if you want to place an early low bid and then go after it later. It'll give the channel credit for it, and it's no extra cost to you. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll be back soon.